good. Peace be upon all of you. First of all, we're gonna begin our with recitation, some verses in the Quran by our beloved son Muhammad, Ishaq Samora.
That's two. That's two. No, that's two.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إذا السماء انفطرت وإذا الكواكب انتثرت وإذا البحار فجرت وإذا القبور بعثرت علمت نفس ما قدمت وأخرت يا أيها الإنسان ما غرك بربك الكريم الذي خلقك فسواك فعدلك في أي سورة ما شاء ركبك كلا بل تكذبون بالدين وإن عليكم لحافظين كراما كاتبين يعلمون ما تفعلون إن الأبرار لفي نعيم وإن الفجار لفي جحيم يصلونها يوم الدين وما هم عنها بغائبين وما أدراك ما يوم الدين ثم ما أدراك ما يوم الدين يوم لا تملك نفس لنفس شيئا والأمر يومئذ لله صدق الله العظيم.
ما شاء الله جزاكم الله خير.
صدق الله العظيم. صدق الله العظيم وبلغ رسوله الكريم. First of all, we praise Allah, we thank Almighty Allah, the one who gathered us, the one is in power of everything, is in control of everything. Life and death is belong to him. He will give it to whoever he wants, and he will take away from whoever he wants. We belong to that God, and that God determined he has everything, and from him we get everything. The soul of Manal and Omar were in control of that God. They said, تعددت الأسباب والموت واحد. The cause may be different, but the death is one. The one who passed away in a hospital, and the one who passed away in the middle of his bed, and the one who passed away in an accident, all these gather in one thing is death. But Allah decided the way He wants. And the son just recited a few verses in the book of Allah. He just said, a human being knows what he left behind and what he's going for. Human beings know that. Indeed, these two young men and women, they left behind them a great legacy. What we can learn a lot of things from them. Kindness, generous, be side of your brother human being to help them. So I would say they never lost anything. As well, their family and the brother and sister living behind them, they will do their best to revive this legacy until the late day of resurrection. And I thank the family, my sincere thanks to the family. Because of them, we gather here. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And friends, they did their best these days to show their support to the family of Manal and Omar. May Allah, may God reward all of you. Tonight is a night of prayer. Tonight is a night of unity. Tonight is a night to clean our heart and to become as a one person to help this family, whatever we can do. I'm proud of this, Omar and Manal. Alhamdulillah, what I will say in my last word here, none of us know what is going to happen to you after you left this earth. By going home, you don't know what is going to happen. The only thing what we can do, it is to pray for them and pray for ourselves. It is to pray for these children. I would say, these children, if you lost your father, according to Islamic tradition, we call you orphan. But these children, they lost both of their parents. It's not easy. So sometimes we cannot solve this problem with the money. We solve it being kind to them and let them feel they never lose anything in their life. Our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he saw the orphan, he would put his hand in his head and make like that. Get close to him and let him feel he is one of his member of the family. Let us be like that to the family of Manal and Umar. It's not about money. It's about heart. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Tonight's a special night in many different ways. Tonight's Manal's birthday, and it's somewhat surreal, but I'm going to start off with a funny story, actually, to help lighten the mood. I know this is a very difficult time for everybody, but when I was younger, my sister used to always come into my room around this time. I never knew why. She'd come around 11 o'clock and just hang out and talk, and so the sound, and then she would just leave. She did this one day after another, and it was like about a 2-week sprint. So anybody who's an amazing educator, as Manal and Omar were, repetition and immersion is the best way to learn. So I'm like, why are you doing this? And she's like, I had one of those Magnavox, those alarm clocks, really big numbers because I'm nearsighted. And she would leave exactly at 11:21. She's like, so you never forget my birthday.
Aw.
So but Manal and Umar were very close. Umar and I, we went to college together. We became very, very close friends. And like I said, they were master educators and such amazing educators. Even upon their death, they're teaching us a master class in life. And I'm going to speak words from my father, who said, they just taught us durus, lessons of life. And one of the things for today is I'm going to try to itemize some of these lessons to share with all of you, to share with the world in a way, because they really did unify so many people, so many cultures, so many people from different backgrounds, different religions, based off of these basic human principles of what it means to be human. So I think this is especially important given that we're on the cusp of Thanksgiving. And we were about to meet at Minal's house. She was always the most generous, always offering her home. My siblings, my sister and her husband and kids were going to be coming, and we were supposed to be meeting at their house. But I think one of the hallmarks of Manal and Umar was their dedication to service and their generosity. They were always the first to be available for anything. And tonight, though we're speaking to the world, tonight's really for this community, the Steeplechase community, the Northville community. We met with the neighbors who are here and the first responders. And I know Manal and Umar would have done the exact same thing. People are normally thinking about their own challenges. They're normally thinking about how can I help myself? And Manal and Umar were the type of people that always thought about other people's needs first. And I met the fire chief, God bless him, and the police detectives, and the whole police team. And as a physician myself and other physicians, when you see a patient or you see someone that you're helping to relate to them, it's very jarring. It's really, really hard. And the expectation is you go from one person to the next as if it doesn't affect you. And this story, I heard from the fire chief himself that, seeing 2 car seats in the back of the car, like how could you not be affected? And even the police detective said that they had to move the car because every single time people walked by it, they were shaken. And I think this night is your night. This night is a night for healing for everybody in this community, from the first responders to the Steeplechase community, to Northville, and to the family in the world. And our hope is that through this night, as you see comfort with us, you may begin to get comfort yourself, because there is no closure. There is no closure. And getting comfortable with the uncomfortable is really something that we're trying to accelerate and expedite the process for the families, and most importantly for the kids. Another lesson that Manal and Umar embodied, we always hear about the golden rule, like treat others the way you want to be treated. And you've heard of the phrase of the platinum rule, which is treat others the way they want to be treated. And Manal and Umar embodied this. And there's a slight difference. It's one word difference, okay? When you want to treat others the way they want to be treated, what that means is you have to listen. You have to be patient. You have to meet people where they are, and not just impose your own sense of virtuosity, your own sense of values. It takes a lot of patience. And they, subhanAllah, there were always the types of people to listen, to meet people where they are. You never felt judged. You never felt strange. You never felt like you were doing something wrong. No matter what, they met people where they are, and they touch people's hearts and they touch people's minds. Very, very powerful lesson that I wanted to share to you in this room and share to those in the world. A third really important lesson is the lesson of honoring our parents. Manal and Umar really, truly, really honored our parents. My mom has got a heart of a lion, very, very courageous woman, very strong. God bless her soul. Unfortunately, she actually sprained her foot. So please make dua, prayer for her to to heal, but she's got a very heavy boot, so now if she kicks me, it's gonna hurt more. And my father, mashallah, brilliant man, a character, he's larger than life. You know, before Google was my dad. And he's the type of man, I kid you not, he memorizes phone numbers to this day. And I learn from him every single day. And it's shocking that someone, you know, it's incredible. And I really took a lot of joy, all my siblings do. It's a really amazing dynamic. Abu Umar and Umar, Umar's parents, angels. Their hearts are so sweet. The way they interact, they raise the beautiful family. And when Manal and Umar got married, we truly felt that it was a union of tribes. And it was something that gave a lot of peace. So a very important lesson is to honor our parents. And the other thing too is not too long ago, Manal had this very special quality of always trying to build, reconcile and build a sense of belonging with everybody. And one of my friends and spoke with Manal, we were trying to even do a big event just to honor our parents that are an age where we're thinking about what can we do to pay them back, because really there's nothing that we could do. They've given us so much. And you know, we were thinking like, you know, the last thing we want to do is have something after the fact. Why not do something to honor them when we're alive? So inshallah, God willing, we'll be able to do something. Another important lesson is the importance of family and community. You know, you hear the phrase, it takes a village. And I'm going to give a slight permutation of that. It's I'm sorry, guys. The importance of family and community to them was immense. They loved everybody. Ahid, Adnan, Manal, and Umar loved you. I remember Ahid's here in the room. You guys can't see her. Is Umar's younger brother, and I went to college with Umar. We had a lot of fun. We were reminiscing about all the fun stories. And when you started coming to college, he said, "Oh, my little bro, you know, just bring him in circle, set him up, help him out, get him there, get everything." Like he loved you, and then Adnan the same thing. So Umar, he always spoke so much about you. Layla, Abir, Rukhran, Manal, and Umar really loved all of you. Her thing that lit her world were the kids. As you guys know, Manal was an educator in school in Detroit, touched so many lives, and her ability to connect with children and that purity of soul and heart is a magical quality that she had. That no, very few people have that quality. And I'm going to say something like Layla was actually, Umar was married prior. And how many people in this world do you have an ex-wife and a wife who are friends? How many? Honestly, in any culture, in any religion, how many people in this world would a daughter or wife have the in-laws in the basement, living happily, living in as kings and queens? And I swear to you, this basement is incredible. It's beautiful, of what she designed for them. Her home, her heart was open, her mind was open, her home was open. She was truly open, and it was something that was truly beautiful. Rizan, my sister, Bismillah, mashallah, she's a larger than life. My sisters, all of my sisters, okay? And Manal was, she's actually designing her derm clinic in Dubai. So most of you may know what Rizan, mashallah, she's got a big social media following. I call her the Sanjay Gupta of the Middle East. Every time I think I saw her advertisement in the airport with L'Oreal. I'm like, okay, that's a little bit odd. But she was designing her clinic, and the pictures that I saw are stunning. And Manal was supposed to go to open the clinic later in December. And recently, Lizanne sent I think a TikTok or Snap, I forgot what it was, but one of those things, and she had like Bella Hadid and Paula Abdul. I don't know if you guys seen it. And Dania, my wife, she's like, oh, check this out. And I was talking to Manal, and she's like, Manal's like, you know what? I know everyone's thinking it's cool for Lizanne to meet Bella Hadid and Paula Abdul, but really they're the ones. They're the ones who should be honored. But one of the motifs that really represents Manal and one of her favorite animals is butterflies. And inshallah we'll get an opportunity to see them when we open up the clinic. Bayan, my angel, my baby sister, please everyone make prayers for her. She's probably, not to say that anybody was hit not hard, but she was hit very hard, and she's pregnant, and everyone, the support group that she has is astounding, and it's incredible, and it really does take a village to support each other. But she's in a very, very few women have as much compassion as my sister Bayan. She's a true empath, almost to a fault, and a lot of that comes from the families and both sides of the family. It's truly a gift. Dania, my wife, honestly, she was wonderful friends. It's a blessing when the wives and the sister-in-laws and the in-laws all get along. It's always a challenge if anyone's ever stuck in the middle, but we've been blessed. And Dania, I could not be doing anything without what I'm doing without your support. And it's truly a blessing to have such a close-knit relationship with all of us and the Suleiman family and the Qadri family, especially in a tragedy like this. And there's so many uncles and cousins, and most importantly, the kids. Dean and Noah, you guys are troopers, amazing strength, the courage of lion, and the resilience and grit that they've personified throughout this entire journey is not only due to their own character and their own conviction, but the character of those around them. And it is our responsibility as adults, it is our responsibilities as parents, it is our responsibilities as leaders in this community to provide a sense of comfort to everybody, no matter what the circumstances are, so that when we face a tragedy like this, even though people are shaken, they don't fall apart. And I was talking to Ahid, who's throughout this, it's been the past week has been a whirlwind. We haven't slept, and we were reflecting the other night, and we're like, my God, what has changed and how this happened, and the emotions were a roller coaster, and there's fear, there's anger, there's anxiety. But one of the things that is truly, truly like a common denominator to this entire journey is love. Love for the kids, love for the families, love for the community, and love for each other in a way that is infectious in a good way. And I remember one night we were talking, and it's natural. There's going to be tension, And Ahid and I were holding each other's hands, and he's like, Bassam, I promise you, the love that I have for you and the respect that I have for you. And my Bayan's husband, Hassan, who I didn't mention, and I should because he's a big guy, so he's mashallah, Allah yahmi, amazing guy, amazing stature, so much character, so much knowledge, someone I truly respect, and his ability to think and be lucid during a time like this was someone that I needed by my side. Both Ahid and I needed. And he kept us together. He was the glue that kept Ahid and I together, because we were not just a deer in the headlights, we were like spaghetti. And Hassan, Allah yaqbal alayk, if you could hear me, we love you. And the example that you set for all of us and you taking care of Bayan and taking care of so many things is something that I will cherish my whole life. So that's with family. And as you notice, family, I spent a lot of time because family is really, really critical in this process. Positive perspective. Manal and Omar were always positive, no matter what they faced. We talk about a glass half empty or 90% empty. Some people, subhanAllah, 90% empty, they complain about the 10% or 90% full, they'll complain about the 10% that's not there. They were the opposite. Like, hey, it's 10% full, and they would be happy about it in an authentic way, very sincere. And I myself recently was hospitalized and under circumstances that were really very, very difficult. And they were visiting, and we had a lot of conversations. And during those conversations, I was talking about my own sort of estate planning, thinking about what to do for myself and who should take care of my kids, God forbid something happens to me. And we had a lot of conversations. In fact, a lot of the conversations were on the phones. That's why we're praying that we could get the phones back, because in addition to the conversations, there were a lot of pictures and a lot of notes. So we're praying we get those phones back very soon. But during that time, never did I thought that the roles would be reversed. Never. And at the time, I was going through something that was very painful, very, very difficult, very hurtful, made me wonder whether or not I'll ever be able to work again. And little did I know that was probably the most blessing I'll ever have in my life. So subhanAllah, it's all about perspective. And our view of the world and the plans that we have and the plans that God sets for us, he knows best. Another really important lesson was the value of time. They never wasted time. They were fun, they were loving, but they were world-class professionals. I mean, the attention to detail. I was telling Hadis when he was here, I was like, this is not going to meet Manal's standard. She knows every little detail. It doesn't matter what it is. And Omar is an oral surgeon, perfectionist. And they were so skilled. In fact, my son, I took Omar, my son to Omar to get his tooth extracted. I'm really nervous. I'm an anesthesiologist. And does he need sedation? Does he not? He's like, oh, don't worry. He goes in, like 5 minutes later, he's done. I'm like, seriously? MashaAllah. And Manal, the vision, like, it's scary. You know how, like, you're going into this forest. She's a designer. You come into your house, change everything. And she has a vision, and she'll walk you through that. It's a little bit scary, but when you come out at the end, what you see is more beautiful than what you've ever imagined. So she's really, really, a really important defining quality is their attention to social justice. The importance of just justice to people who are disempowered, to the voiceless, to the weak, it just came naturally to both of them. They always, no matter what the circumstances are, were advocates. And they use their privilege to advocate. And Manal, every night, talking to her students, thinking about what she could do for her students, what kinds of resources she could do. She's very active in the Detroit, in the Black Lives Matter movement, Amir Hikmati, in the Freeing Amir, a lot of these other just points of social justice, and she worked quietly. She was not the media person. She was the muscle. She was the brains, and she was the heart. And her and Umar, mashallah, they really did. They were examples in their persistence of social justice, leadership. People think about leadership as some kind of authority or being in charge, and they were not that. people, but they were leaders. They were strong leaders. They were servant leaders, and they led with their hearts, but they walked with their brains. Very measured, very meticulous. They knew exactly what they're doing, but it was all from the heart. And the grace that they had when they managed very difficult circumstances, you wouldn't know that what they were doing, where they sat, who they sat with, when they spoke, when they didn't speak, was all very intentional. And I'm speaking from several times Manal would try to mediate with different individuals. And the way she did, it's natural. You have friends that you both love. You have, people who just haven't talked to each other in a long while. She never talked about it directly. She would do an event, say, hey, let's get a party going. And if you have a room full of like 100 people, little do they know there's only 2 people in her book that matter, that she's trying to soften their hearts so that they could connect. And she, remember, we would talk about these things, and it's very, how many people even care about, your circle of compassion towards others? Everyone wants to mind their lane. And she and Omar really instilled a sense of quality of just pure kindness, because they felt the best way to protect themselves and protect their households and to protect their children is to protect all children. And this wasn't a matter of words, this was a matter of action. So they truly led with their hearts, but walked with their brains. And they took joy in reconciliation. I have a few calls to action. I have more lessons, but I want to be sensitive to time. And this is actually extremely hard for me to speak. I'm trying to hold it together. I'm holding it together with like popsicle sticks and chewing gum, and my heart is in so much pain, but I'm here for all of you. Those who are, I don't even know who's out there,
Hundreds.
and all the people in this room. But I'm gonna go through a series of call to actions, some asks that I have. So the first ask is, there's a Launch Good campaign. There's 4 children left behind. God bless their souls. And this money will be dedicated to the children. So please consider looking at it. And there's a beautiful video that was done by a very, very close friend. It's extremely touching. Every time I watch it, I cry. Actually, no tears come because they're dry, but I cry. So watch it. So the second call to action is, believe it or not, we found one of my good friends, his wife, had a voice memo from Manal, who was planning to do Hajj. And it's almost, you couldn't put this in a movie. It was that magical. And for those of you in this room, Hajj is something we do in Islam once in your life. And we were talking about it earlier, like there's many different traditions, and each one is, I think of it as a miracle in behavior change. You have 5 daily prayers, and the idea is like, between each prayer, you got a chance to get on the wagon, and if you fall off the wagon, if something miss a beat, we have the weekly prayer on Friday. And life happens, things happen, you get distant, you fall off the wagon again. You have Ramadan, which is once a year, so you can sort of reset your spirituality, reset your mind, and hopefully it's almost like the New Year's resolution, but instead of one night, it's a full month to exercise your spirituality. But the culmination of this is Hajj, which is the pilgrimage, the annual pilgrimage. And the easiest way for me to describe it is almost like a Control-Alt-Delete, where you reset your spirituality. And the nice thing about this process is normally we think about exercises for the brain, because we could touch and feel. We talk about exercises for the body, like Jameel here is a world-class trainer, and he talks about exercise for the body. But we don't usually talk about exercises for the soul and the spirit. And it's hard because there's a lot of people do things in their own ways, but it's real. It's real. And we may not be able to put our finger on it. We may not be able to touch it, but we all know it's real, like love, like hate, like any of these things. And there's very few prescriptions for exercising the soul. At least, let me rephrase, there's very few people who talk about prescriptions for what to do to exercise the soul. But those who know is that there's a whole litany of prescriptions that we have. And these prescriptions are noble and they're there for a reason. And a lot of what we're doing today is applying these prescriptions that were prescribed upon us to take care of yourselves, take care of your families, take care of your neighbors, take care of each other, and have gratitude, no matter how big the calamity is. These are prescriptions. And as a physician, when you write a prescription for a patient, you're writing a prescription because there's hikmah, there's wisdom behind it. Because you hope that this prescription is going to heal this diagnosis. And for us, the diagnosis of the heart and the souls, what we are doing today is part of that prescription. It's a steroid to decrease the inflammation, to accelerate the healing process, and get us back on a path to recovery so that we could go back to work and smile and engage. And despite this tragedy, I genuinely feel this, and Ahid, who's sitting here, bears witness that the families are doing well. Right, Ahid? Say that loud so the world can hear. Absolutely. And that doesn't come overnight. That comes because there's a treadmill of exercise every day, every month, every week, every year, and once in your life. An exercise of spirituality that should not be taken lightly, regardless of faith. Amen. And this is something that is very difficult to talk about, but people don't like talking about it because the natural inclination is for people to focus on the differences. And when in reality, it's not the differences that unite us, it's the commonalities. We have children, we have parents, we have siblings, we have communities, we have schools. Everybody, no matter where you are, no matter what language you speak, one thing that always comes to mind is how do you build a better future for your children? Everybody could align to that, no matter what. And Manal and Omar truly, truly embodied that in so many ways. So going back to my second call to action, Manal made a Hajj pledge, which we recorded. I actually built a dashboard online that you could pledge to. And already, I haven't seen it lit last, but there's 55 people from UK, from Brazil, from France, Turkey, Kazakhstan. I actually don't believe it's. I'm sure someone's putting in some fake data, but it's either that or Borat. But I'm shocking. And you look, the world is so big, but you look on the map and say, wow, it's so small. And what connects people is their love. So I have not done Hajj. I was the first to pledge, and I welcome anybody who has not, who's hopefully moved by this story. One, to listen to the audio clip because it's on the dashboard. But two, make a pledge because my sister and Ahmad, they were hanging out at their friend's place, visiting. They just had a baby. One of the things that they do when they're happy is they actually go to Taco Bell. All my sisters like Taco Bell, which is a little bit strange. I don't like Taco Bell, but they love it. And they went to Taco Bell. I know they're happy. They're on their way back home, and Allah yarhamuhum, they passed away. And are the neighbors here? Some of the neighbors are here, and the first responders were there. And instantly, both of them passed at the exact same time in their own subdivision. None of us know when our time will come. So make your intentions there. Third call to action is if you've been touched by Omar and Manal, please share your story. The stories that are there, use the hashtag #MyManal story or #myOmar story. We are compiling these stories because Dean and Noah are here, are older, and they've had the privilege to at least met and I got to know their parents, and Leila's here as well, Dean and Noah's mother. But Sophia and Makeen, they're not even 3 years old, they're younger, they're toddlers. And they these stories are for everybody, but especially for them. And that hashtag lets us curate these stories. Fourth call to action is Google reviews. Yes, Google reviews. Both of them were professionals. Heather, who's at Dexter Oral Surgery, and the whole staff, Manal and Omar, love them. And if you were cared for them, please take a moment to write a Google review about them and share your story about them, because it's not common where you have someone who cares about patients, who cares about their staff, who cares about their character, and they were truly professionals. And Manal, she has a Manal Kadri Design Collective, or MK Design Collective. She has some Google reviews. Beautiful work. Some people in this room who had the privilege of having their homes done by her. So if you get a chance, please write a Google review. The fifth call to action is during Thanksgiving is coming upon us. Please express gratitude to each other, to the families. Obituaries will be published on Thanksgiving. We want this to be symbolic all over the country. So not just the Michigan, Detroit area, we have the New York Times as well. And it's really simple. It's, this is a Thanksgiving, holidays are not easy. It is a nice time to celebrate, but people reflect. Sometimes they've lost someone, sometimes there's tension, sometimes there's anger. Just saying the words, thank you, may help soften people's hearts. And then if you want to make it even stronger, thank you, brother. Thank you, sister. I remember once we were at Tim Hortons, my sister was with me. I was getting coffee. I was like, thank you, brother. And my son, who's 5 years old, he's like, he's not your brother. Who's he? I'm like, it's just a word of endearment. He's like, okay, so he's saying thank you, brother, thank you, sister, to everybody. But it really does make a difference. It really, really does. Another call to action is actually the Lions. Manal and Omar loved the Lions. Manal's favorite player was Lomas Brown. And Omar, Allah yarhamu, loved Barry Sanders. He wanted Barry Sanders to come back out of, we all did. So please rally, this Thursday. I don't know when you last won, but it was 2016. I think it was 2016. Please, this year for Omar and Manal, for Detroit, please win, okay? And so we'll hopefully have a win, a big W for the Lions, for all of Detroit. I think that we've earned it. And we are going to have a moment of silence soon. But after the moment of silence, there's going to be something called the Adhan, which is the call to prayer. And I asked one of my very good friends, who's in this room right now, to do the call to prayer. And I told him before this, his story himself is actually interesting. He's actually the only person in the world who's done the call to prayer in every single state in the US. But the other thing is his name. And his name is Jamil Sayyid, which translates to noble beauty. And in a way, it symbolizes the story of Manal and Omar, the community, and everything that everyone is dealing with. Is there's truly a sense of noble beauty in all of this. And I told him, he's just hearing this for the first time. I told him he was born for this moment. He really was. He was born for this moment, because the level of tranquility that you will hear, they love the Adhan, is something that it's, again, hard to describe, hard to put your finger on, but anyone who hears it could really come to some level of peace. And before we go to the moment of silence, I do want to express gratitude to the steeplechase community who's been shaken by this. But please, please, please have comfort that the families are doing well. Dean and Noah are doing well. The kids are doing well. Everybody is doing well. And we all have to come to terms to something that is this tragic. And my sister, who's brilliant, she's actually a genius. My sister, she skipped all of college, started college before she could even drive, and started medical school, I think when she was 19. Okay, so this is like super brain power, mashallah, Allah yahmiha. She's like, Bassam, the way I look at it is, I was born into this world before my sister, and she left before me. And I was like, it's true, it's that simple. It hurts, it really, really hurts. It's honestly my mouth is dry, but it's the most difficult thing I've experienced in my life. And the most pain, the pain is so, I was in Ahed's car, what was it? I can't remember, my days are blended. What was it, 2 days ago? I was just sitting there, and all of a sudden I felt like someone just took a knife into my chest, and I was just crying, and I couldn't hold it in, and it would come and go, and I know time will help, but this is hard. So with that, I want to express gratitude to the Steeplechase community. I want to express gratitude to all the people who've organized and mobilized to help everything. Tamim is a great friend who I called. He works at Facebook. I'm like, hey, Tamim, can you help me out here? Like, yeah, sure. And we jerry-rigged this MacGyver setup here to get something done. Thank you so much. But so much love from so many people, from so many strangers, and it's sad that we've met each other on these terms. But from here on out, you guys are part of this community and part of this story in a way that is truly, truly a blessing. And we hope that this moment and this tragedy doesn't just give union with each other in this community, but brings families, brings countries, and brings the whole world together. And with that, Tamim, if you could start.
Yes, sir. As well, 2 minutes.
Okay, and then Jamil from here.
We face Mecca wherever we are in the world. Happens to be Northeast in North America when we make the call to prayer.
Hold on. Right.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت سيدنا محمد الوسيلة والفضيلة والدرجة الرفيعة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته ورزقنا الشفاعة يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد.
With that, we will conclude this truly blessed night, and thank you all in this room for sharing this moment with us. And thank you all out there for sharing this moment with us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much.